One of the things I want to bring up actually as well is post Venezuelan election, uh, Butcher Blinken, Anthony Blinken, had this to say as well, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
If my colleagues will indulge me for just 1 minute, I want to speak quickly to the elections that just took place in Venezuela. We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity.
What aggression and what adversity is he talking about? Wait, hold on. My question is, what like do we face aggression and adversity whenever we vote here in the United States?
Yeah. So here's the thing. If they're talking about repression, and if by repression they're referring to detentions and arrests that are happening in Venezuela, I think it's really important to put that in the context of the fact that if you go on social media right now to the pages of the right-wing Venezuelan opposition influencers, that are spewing all of this disinformation and everything, but they're also just saying the truth, which is they have admitted every day that they're working with private military contractors. They're working with foreign mercenaries. And they're working with someone named Eric Prince, among many others, who was the founder of Blackwater, and other armed paramilitaries, for example, those in Colombia, to try to figure out a way to take out this government. They've done so many times before because President Nicolas Maduro has in past years been the target of many assassination attempts. The most notable one, I guess, would be in August 2018, now 6 years ago, when he was, I guess, on Avenida Libertador, and he was standing there in some sort of a military parade, and there was a drone attack on him, which we now know was planned by the Venezuelan opposition. All sorts of people were arrested for that and all of that, but they're doing it once again. And so people need to necessarily be arrested. There needs to be some sort of a sweep in any country of the world when you have people who have come out and admitted to acting as foreign agents, admitted to committing acts of treason against their country, and have admitted to plotting things that would be characterized as terrorism or just completely illegal in every country of the world. Certainly, if someone's admitting these things, unfortunately, most of the people and the accounts who have admitted this and who are calling for a military invasion, because they are, once again, are in Miami, and they're in Bogota, and they're in Washington, and they're in Madrid, and places like that. They're not in Venezuela. So they're saying whatever they want to say. But so they're making all of these statements about what they're doing. They have admitted to carrying out thousands of cyber attacks and what is cyber terrorism, because these are illegal, completely illegal in any part of the world, actions that are being taken against government institutions and government web pages of the different ministries and institutions and state media outlets. And they're taking down pages. So on the one hand, we have Nicolas Maduro, the president, and his cabinet accusing them of doing that. On the other hand, they're admitting to doing it. And of course, you have people like Anthony Blinken who make it seem as if the government lies. They just say all this is blah, blah. It's propaganda from Washington, from Russia. They always say that it's propaganda. But in fact, the opposition has been very clear about what their intentions are. Their intentions are to overthrow this government, whether it be by the government stepping down on its own, whether it be by an assassination attempt, whether it be by taking this guy and, taking the president and taking him off to the United States or whatever it is. But the opposition is working very closely with Washington. So, when Blinken says things like this, he is always doing it in consultation with the opposition. These statements are just purely political. They're diplomatic. They're calculated. But ultimately what they're working towards is they've already said that Edmundo Gonzalez has won the majority of the votes. The United States claims that he's the winner. But come January, there needs to be inauguration. And President Nicolas Maduro will be there to be re-inaugurated, having won the elections of July 28th. But unfortunately, what we're expecting to see once again, as we saw in 2019, is that in January, the opposition, strangely enough, in one way or another, will do their own type of inauguration. And what they're preparing is they're in the process of preparing their parastate, their parallel institutions, their parallel office of the presidency, their parallel Supreme Court. They did all of this during those years, 2017 to 2020, when they installed someone as a supposed president, the president of Narnia, who only existed seriously on Twitter, really, and didn't control anything in the country. He was simply the 2015 president of the National Assembly. And because he was that, the United States decided that he could be president of the country. They're going to try doing that again with Edmundo. The weird thing is that Edmundo is nowhere to be found. He's kind of like in hiding. And the face of the opposition during the whole campaign, but also since the election, has been far-right leader of the Venezuelan opposition, Maria Corina Machado. She's the one who came out to the streets yesterday and spoke to the thousands of followers of hers there on Avenida Francisco Miranda in Altamira, the upscale neighborhood. And she has been the one who's rallying everyone and doing all the social media and everything else. But he's supposed to be the president-elect, according to them. So it's a very bizarre thing because he's the one who's going to need to be, according to them, inaugurated. But she's the one who appears. So I'm not sure how this is all going to play out. But in any way, it's still the same template that we saw 5 years ago.